Thank you so much, Mira Sophia. You know, the service goes along the natural order of body, heart, mind, and soul. The body prayers, the heart prayers are all about the ecstatic prayers of Cheho Olamim. The mind is all about uh, the nature of the Baruch Hu and the Shema. And then the fire, the soul, is all about the Amidah that we finished. But there's a fifth part of the service that we're at now, which is called the quintessence, the fifth essence. And so Rabbi Sue is going to be giving a Devar Torah. Once again, just to remind everybody, like I'm on gallery view now, but I really want to see her beautiful punim as she leads this gives us Devar Torah. So please, if you wish to, put her on speaker view. Rabbi Sue, I love you. Thank you so much. Gemar Chatima Tova.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what a year. I have never experienced a Rosh Hashanah when I so desperately wanted a new year to begin. I struggle to find my words. What can I possibly say at a time like this? A time of plague upon plague, anxiety, frustration, overwhelming waves of sadness and tears, panic, fear, unbelievable fires and thick, toxic air, stress, the stress of running for our lives, the stress of losing all of our possessions, of our loved ones losing all of their possessions, displacement, hurricanes, planetary destruction, COVID-19, loss, sickness, fear of sickness, loss of life, fear of loss of health, loss of touch, loss of community, loss of culture, loss of social lives, loss of livelihood, separation from family and loved ones, isolation, quarantine, distancing, masking, loss of trust in our government and our leaders and our journalists and our scientists, loss of trust in our police force, and our postal system and our electoral process system. Hate, intolerance, ignorance, somnolescence. Anticipatory grief, control, loss of a sense of safety, grief over the loss of our illusions of control and safety, disorientation, depression, rising suicide rates, the normalization of evil. Take a moment and feel into all of that. It seems that today we are living in a prolonged time of harsh decree. For many of us, the last 6 months have been the darkest times of our lives. And the last few days, weeks, have brought the overwhelming upheaval of the fires and destruction. How can we go forward, maintaining our hope, our vision, our clarity, our compassion, our sanity? What can we learn from our sages, from our tradition at a time such as this? As Jews, much of our tradition and faith has been born out of exile, expulsions, dispersion, fear, oppression, and loss. How can we transform, rise above the turmoil, and bring the paradigm shift that is begging to be born? As my former teacher says, we are poised between dystopia and utopia. Looking at our Torah readings for the high holidays and Haftorah from the perspective of our world, all I can see right now is the theme of tears. Hagar and Yishmael's tears in the desert, Hannah's tears for her infertility, And the Midrash says that the angels cried, seeing Isaac being sacrificed. Even the shofar sounds like crying. It feels like we have all been crying lately. And tears can be so healing. Rabbi Nachman, the 18th century Hasidic master, spoke of tikkun habechiyah, the remedy of tears. Tears offer us a release on the physical, emotional, and spiritual levels. The Talmud teaches that tears are the language of the soul. They bypass our defenses and touch the divine essence that is our truest. Even if all the gates are closed, the gates of tears will always remain open. Rabbi Norman Lamb wrote in 1962 that there are three types of tears: the tears of those who resign themselves to hopelessness, the tears of those who cry over reality, not from frustration or resignation, but from a determination to change and renew that reality, and the tears that come when our myths of absolute security and certainty are shattered. The act of crying, according to Rabbi Lamb, is the beginning of transformation. This year in particular, we can appreciate the catharsis of crying, weeping, wailing, letting go of our stress, fear, and anxiety, and allowing the tears to flow. And when the tears stop, we can look to the words of King David in Psalm 126, Hazorim b'dima v'rina yiktsoru. Those who plant in tears harvest in joy. In the reality of our present lives, how can we move from frustration and resignation to transformation and joyous harvest? How can we move from dystopia to utopia? On Rosh Hashanah, we are awakened by the blasts of the shofar. Every morning during the month of Elul, preceding Rosh Hashanah, we sound the shofar to awaken our souls. Now, in our situation, we must emerge from the slumber of our souls in order to transform our world. In the words of Eckhart Tolle, millions are in a state of anxiety. Use this as an opportunity to wake up. Use this precious time. It is part of the awakening of humanity. Humans do not wake up in their comfort zones. They wake up when they are taken out of their comfort zones. When the ego cries over what it has lost, the spirit rejoices over what it has found. When the ego cries over what it has lost, the spirit rejoices over what it has found. This is a time of great opportunity. Use it. Do not waste it. Don't get lost in fear. As a midwife, I can relate to the teaching of Rabbi Elisheva Brenner, who notices that the word shofar is related to the name Shifra, one of the midwives of our liberation story. The shofar produces a pure tone. It is a prayer without words. Its sound might elicit for us the image of Shifra, who brought us forth from the narrows of the birth canal in Mitzrayim to our ultimate freedom. And what is the prayer that we say in the silence after hearing the shofar? Hayom Harat Olam. Hayom, today. Harat is pregnant, so it's literally pregnancy or potential. And Olam means the world, but it also means eternity, time, space, eternity. Hayom Harat Olam. Today is the pregnancy of the world. Today holds infinite potential. As Rabbi David Seidenberg teaches, today we honor the still small voice that comes after the sound of the shofar, the moment when we can hear the echo and potential of eternity, of this infinite creativity. Today we are pregnant with insights, with hopes. Today our choices will gestate the future for our children and for all living beings from here to eternity. And at the end of pregnancy comes the process of labor, which leads to birth and rebirth. We can look at these past 6 months as the transition, long transition stage of labor, when typically the birthing mother cannot see beyond her pain, her contractions, feeling hopeless, wanting to give up, but knowing deep in her soul that a magical moment is about to begin. In fact, Rav Avraham Isaac Kook, the great mystic who was the first chief rabbi of the pre-state of Israel, described the tshuva process as one of rebirth and associated it with the image of the mother who gives new life. As Mora Cerise was saying earlier, El Melech Rachaman, the womb-ful God. He references the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, and associates the mother and tshuva with the same point of divinity. Lama'an tinku usvatem mishod tinachameha, for ye will nurse and be satisfied at her comforting breasts. Vayinaktem al tzad tinaseu, v'al birkayim tisha'asha'u. You will nurse and be carried on her hip and dandled on her knees. Ki'ish asher imo tinachamenu, kain anochi anachemtem. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. Rav Kook replaces our image of God, the harsh judge, with God, the mother goddess, comforting her children. Rav Kook's vision of God consists of kindness, joy, holiness, and purity, leading to the transformation of all beings in a cosmic song of divine joy. God has blessed us with this opportunity to stop, reflect, get still, and revel in the comfort of God's love. Accept the blessing, accept the stillness, accept the mystery. Valerie Cower writes, so the mother in me asks, what if? What if this darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? What if our America is not dead, but a country that is waiting to be born? What if the story of America is one long labor? What if all of our grandfathers and grandmothers are standing behind us now? Those who survived occupation and genocide, slavery and Jim Crow, detentions and political assault. And I would add, those who endured expulsions, inquisitions, blood libels, ghetto life, pogroms, and the Holocaust. What if they are whispering in our ears, you are brave? What if this is our nation's greatest transition? What does the midwife tell us to do? Breathe. And then push. Because if we don't push, we will die. Today we will breathe. Tomorrow we will labor in love, through love. And your revolutionary love is the magic we will show our children. Friends, this is the moment we have been waiting for. This is the moment we have been preparing for all of our lives. Shana Tova, may it be a year of sweetness, strength, health, equality and equanimity, peace, compassion, love, renewed planetary awareness, renewed recognition of the sanctity of all life for us, for Israel, and for the entire planet. Ken Yehiratzon.
Ken Yehiratzon. Kol hakavod, yesher koach. Unbelievable.
So powerful, Rapsu. Thank you.
Thank you.
All this dark matter, all this dark energy, Rabbi Sue. I think you really hit it so much on the spot with the breathe and push, and so much something is being birthed now. You know, in Jewish tradition, we call it the birth pangs of the Messiah, of the Mashiach. That the Messiah is this energy force of bringing this kindness and love into the world. And right now it's in the womb, not in the tomb. Thank you so much. What we're going to do